I am the Headless Headhunter, a corporate recruiter here to review your resumes to get you ahead of the job market. So, the first resume we have up is an HR generalist. This person has had about 280 interviews. 280 interviews would be great. 280 applications to 0 interviews. So this is actually the first version of resume. This person is in chat on my Twitch. That's where I get the keywords, and that's where I help people live at twitch.tv/headlestheadhunter, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 PST. And so we're probably going to see a more successful version of this resume at a future video. So this is the old version, but essentially they are an HR generalist, and they've applied to 280 applications, and this has gotten them no interviews. So formatting wise, this is for the new people. This is going to be peak formatting. The link to that is in the description below. So I'm not going to go too over formatting because I know it's not great, but let's go around what we actually need. So what we're going to be looking for an HR generalist is HRIS platforms and Microsoft Office. So HRIS is Human Resource Information System. There are differences between that and ATSs, but sometimes they combine them. And we also need to know MS Excel, Word, PowerPoint, the number of employees your past companies have had. So the difference between being an HR generalist at a company with 10 employees versus one of 10,000 is going to be different. So we want to know essentially, how many people you were working with. HR best practices and employment law. They want to make sure that you are not going to break the law, because your job is to protect the company, and that is how you do it, by knowing that stuff. So then employee relations, staffing, and payroll. So while talent acquisition or recruitment is under the HR umbrella, realistically companies have been moving forward and splitting them off into 2. So they want a little bit of staffing and talent acquisition stuff, but most of it is not going to be related to that. So but we do want to know employee relations and payroll. Payroll is huge. I know it's all the way down here, but it's very big. Payroll is very important. So a little bit about talent acquisition. I do want to know the industry you are in, because it's going to matter a little bit. I don't need a ton on it, just like in the healthcare industry, in the X industry. And then if you can mention an ATS, that's fine. But again, it's not major. The bigger one is the HRIS over the ATS. Yes, they are different. Sometimes it can get a little confusing. And a bonus point is going to be any HR cert, such as the shrimp cert, SHRM, whatever, CP, PHR. Again, I don't know why my brain wants to say that as shrimp, but whatever. So let's begin. All right, summaries are not needed. Strategic analytic capital, blah, 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 not needed. Yeah, okay, so this can be deleted. This can be safely deleted. Let's go to the actual stuff. So management analyst. So the first thing is this is going to confuse them. So one of the few times a summary is needed is if your last job title was not related to the job title that you're looking for. So either change this to HR generalist, which changing your I went over this a video or 2 ago, but essentially changing your job title is okay. The key thing to doing it is you have to be able to say in the interview, my official job title was management analyst, but everybody kept calling us HR generalist instead, and that was what everybody else called us. So I changed it to HR generalist because that seemed to be what the market is. So if you cannot say that or a version of that in the interview, do not change your title. If you can, that's when you can change your job title. So spearheaded recruitment and retention strategies as the executive and scientific recruitment lead. Matter under Title I authority office. Okay, so this isn't the worst, but this isn't the best. The first thing is you started off with talent acquisition, which again is kind of a minor part of HR generalist. Ideally, we really want to break those down into a talent acquisition resume and an HR generalist resume. So, but I do like for a workforce of 5,000 employees. That's good. Collaborated. I really don't like the word collaborated with. Executive leaders are hiring for scientific roles, increasing hire rates from 3% to 8.5%. That metric doesn't mean anything. Led executive managing full performance cycles for 20 integrating SMART goals. Again, yeah. So a federal lead, the FI leadership, generating 56. Okay, this is even in recruitment. I don't know if this would work. Accomplish wide knowledge of stakeholders. Stakeholders can be good measured by nearly 50 training. So yeah, the problem is I just don't have a lot of this because what they're really asking for is what HRIS systems have you known? What about payroll? Which Do we have payroll? I'm going to search. No, we do not have payroll. Payroll is huge. Do we have relations? Not really. So yeah, it just doesn't have what we're looking for. This is not the worst recruitment resume, but even so, if we wanted to break it into like a talent acquisition resume, we would sort of do like how you talk to the managers, what your KPIs were and how you filled them, the ATSs, but I really do need an HRIS. In fact, HRIS should be one of the top ones. I do know you have it here, but I need to know a little bit more about it, which yes, Workday is both an HRIS and ATS. And I will say as a recruiter that most of the complaints people have about ATSs are specifically because they are a combo HRIS/ATS. I've dispelled the ATS like screening resumes before. It doesn't. It's still recruiters by manually. But the reason you have to input like 30 or 40 minutes of information is because it's an HRIS system before it's an ATS system. So that's all I can do for this one. Before we go to the next resume, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help me out. And let's go help more people. This is a resume of a front end, back end, and full stack. You cannot do that. This does not work. You need to be specific. If you want to make a resume for each of those, that is fine, but the keywords for each of those are going to be different. A front-end developer is going to have a different keyword stack than a full stack. It's going to have different than back-end. And in back-end, you still need to divide it into Java, Python, and C, and maybe Ruby on Rails. But it's been forever since I've seen a Ruby on Rails developer, so I don't know those keywords. But because a Java back-end developer is going to have different keywords than a full stack. So this person applied to 150 applications and has gotten one interview from that at best. They said they've been struggling. I hope you can develop a resume for each position. Again, each of those is going to have different keywords. So if you want the keywords for all of those, just let me know in the comments and I can post them. I don't think I have C keywords yet. It's been a while since I saw a C developer, so I haven't done that. Or you can, if you come on chat, you can ask me and I can do that for you. But I do have Java, full stack, front end, and Python. So I really do want to see a Ruby on Rails developer. It's been forever. So, all right. So they said, I'm happy to pay depending on the price. No payment. I do not accept payment from candidates. I accept donations, but I will use those donations on video games and sushi. So make sure you are well set financially, but this is a free to play channel. No payment will get you faster services. I don't want to incentivize people that don't have a job to pay. That's scummy. I make my money from recruitment and ads. All right. So no pay, no payment, whatever. Again, donations are nice, but not required. They will go to video games and sushi. So let's review this resume that is clearly not working, which is because it's a generalized resume. Generalized resumes do not work. You need to be job title specific. Now, also going with that is you should not tailor your resume to each job. I know that sounds counterproductive or essentially like hypocritical when I say you need to be specific on the resume but not to the job. You want to do the job title, not the job itself, because typically job titles are going to have the same keywords and qualifications, with the exception of marketing. Marketing's weird, but software engineering, a Java developer at company one, a back-end Java developer at company one is going to have enough keywords to get an interview at Java developer company two. So lead backend software engineer intern. What do you mean lead? All right. So first off, formatting is off. Please use my formatting. This is hard to read. I do have bad eyesight, but that's other recruiters might too. So this is me leaning in, trying to read this very teeny font. So trained, organized, trained and onboarded new backend team members in code-based setup, API development, database management. Again, so you do not need to tell me the date you started school. I just need to know that you graduated. So this should be one line and it should just say December 2024. That's all. Program language, this can be deleted. Again, if a keyword is not under a bullet point, it does not count and does not matter. I am sorry. I wish it was the case that you could just list your keywords, but you cannot. You need to show me how and why under a bullet point. So, organize weekly backend team meetings, upcoming deadlines and team milestones. Collaborate with Scrum Lines API. Led database from Azure database to MySQL. Languages, software, and tools. Yeah, so here's the problem. This is a very good intern bullet point, but the resume that gets you an internship is not necessarily the resume that gets you a job. I know that's weird, but an intern software engineer is going to be different than a actual like paid, first 40-hour week job. So these are good for interns. These are actually very good internship bullet points, but they're kind of garbage for full-time. So what I want to see is, first off, pick a dang stack. All right? Pick a stack. Again, you can have 3 different resumes, one for each, one for backend, one for full, one for front. That's okay. And then focus on those. But if you have everything, you have nothing, which is why I don't like these. So anyway, but yeah, I like the Azure. I will say, led a database migration project from Azure to MySQL is really good, along with the words API development. But again, I need Java, Python, or C. I need your primary language. So, but this stuff doesn't really matter. This is okay for internship resumes, but this is your first full-time job. This doesn't matter. I'm only saying API doesn't matter because you already mentioned API up here. All right, so lower, let's go. Contributed to Fastify, blah, blah, blah. Don't care about that. I'm not clicking that link. Do not have time. Software L code, nothing. Okay, extended customized, nothing's here. Again, you cannot just say JavaScript and TypeScript. You have to show me how you used it. And it doesn't have to be a brag. You can just say, used JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and TypeScript to create a front-end website for our client in the healthcare industry. That's it. That's a phenomenal sentence. This is not. Conducted research to identify an open source application. Don't care, don't care, don't care. Yeah, there's nothing here I need. So the problem is you don't have any keywords that I need for this, specifically for like software engineering. Again, I think this part is okay. Your first sentence is okay, but it should have your primary language. And then this is actually a very good, this one down here is actually a very good bullet point, but there's just nothing here. And unfortunately, no one teaches college students this, but once you transition to your first full-time work, I don't know why they do it. Like, I'm not going to try to say that this is the right thing to do, but unfortunately, that's just the game. I can only teach you how to play it, and that is to pick a stack. Again, you can have 3 resumes for different stacks, and then add those keywords for those. If you need a stack-specific keyword, I can give it to you below, except for C backend and Ruby on Rails backend, because I have not done those in forever. So that's all I can say on this one. It does not pass at all, but just once you add the keywords, do it. And I want you to write those keywords like this. This is a good sentence. This is an actual good sentence that probably no one can read because the font is so small. So next resume. This is a resume of a customer success director and manager. So I couldn't find a ton of actual customer success director manager keywords specifically, and I know I've reviewed this resume. I don't think they've had time to redo the fixes, but mostly it's the same as a normal director. So what we do want is industry. MS Office, seriously, there are so many that have MS Office, like, it's shocking. I will always maintain that if you put MS Office on your resume, you are already ahead of like 20% of the entire populace of your resumes. PMP and CSM cert, while not required, are huge. And then that you can influence at all levels, so stakeholders, customers, clients. Industry knowledge, which is going to be specific. So if it's like a SaaS, you want to put SaaS. If it's like healthcare, you want to put some healthcare stuff. Education can be important. And then arguably most importantly is, how did you solve problems and why you did it? For director level, high level, I need to know the how. The how is usually more important than necessarily the what. So, and then how much you manage in volume. So again, this is for like, was it a 25 bajillion project where there are 28 billion people, and then cross-functional. So again, I've reviewed these and you haven't changed the feedback because this was in a previous one and I did not like these key highlights. So I basically said this was mid and the rest were not okay. So let's see about the rest of the bullet points, which is transform customer engagement strategy through a customer first model, improving customer health scores, and securing 100% renewables for the company's software as a service portfolio. So I like this part. This is a little wordy because remember, your first audience may not be a director. It may be somebody that doesn't know the industry, especially if they're hiring you for this. They may need a person that they don't know, and you're going to be the one that has to do that. So I would make this a little simpler. Which would be pretty good, but I do like the renewables for the company's 15 million B2B software as a service portfolio. So just make this a little bit, this part is fine. This needs to be simplified a little bit. Enhanced customer relation. I hate the word enhanced. Customer relationship management workflows by optimizing Monday, improving time and account. Again, why was this important? It's good that you had 96% customer score, but like, how was it before you picked over? Like, I need to know, like, was it a 12% customer satisfaction score and you moved it to a 96%? Why is it important? I don't know. You did not tell me. Own customer life cycles across onboarding and renewal to grow customer lifetime value for cross-functional. Again, this is okay. I kind of got it, but you may need to simplify this a little bit, but it's not the worst. So, and what was your ratio with this one? We don't know. I think it was maybe 1 in 50 to 1 in 75, which is why I can kind of see it. Because your first sentence is solid. You say B2B, you say SaaS, you tell what you do. This one is kind of junk. This is an okay one. This one is kind of okay, but not great. And this can be okay. So, directed a 7-member success team managing an 11 million portfolio in finance, tech, and multi-level. 39% year-over-year growth in net revenue retention. This should be the bullet point. Like, just put this instead of here. Your highlights are mid. It can go longer than a sentence. If you only need like 2 highlights, that's fine. But this right here is solid, and this is really solid. I really like this. This is why you're getting like 1 in 50. It can be better, but it's not the worst. Mentor the team to strengthen customer relation utilizing sales methodologies such as challenger model. This is okay. I kind of like it, but again, it's kind of, you really need to simplify it. Like, if you're talking to a stakeholder or a customer that doesn't know what you're doing, your resume is a prime example of how you can do that. So, collaborating cross-functionally good with tech teams to develop analysis portal, leveraging user return on investments. Again, it's okay. So this is not a bad resume. This is definitely better than the last one. It's not the best. I think this is like a C-. The problem is there is a little too many percentages, and I don't know if a layman could understand all of this. And again, what I'm really looking for is this, which you kind of do. I'd like literally just this thing that says you used Excel. I know that's kind of silly, but it can't help. And I would like a little bit more about like the numbers of your team and the budget you were given, but it's an okay resume. I just think it could be better. So clean it up a little bit. Don't put these little big lines. They make it harder to read. And I think you were going to get more than 1 in 50, because 1 in 50 is an okay ratio. For director, it can be okay because there's not as many positions. But so, yeah, to summarize, my brain is not working. I'm sorry, y'all. Essentially, it's okay. Needs to be a little bit more simplified. I need to know a little bit more about the how, and more specifically, less percentages. And switch around what some of your key highlights are, because you actually have some good key highlights. Like this would be better than here. And then if you just put like this, secured 100% renewables for the company's 15 million B2B SaaS portfolio is probably better, which is up here. So that's all I can do for this resume. Let's go to the next. This is a resume of a front-end developer. So they are applying for remote in Europe, and these are the keywords in the United States. I think this, in the case of front-end developers, they're the same. The full stack is a little different, but front-end, I think, is the same. So you may not need all of these, but these are going to be the ones we're going to be looking for. So their ratio is 100 to 1, but which isn't good, but also they're living outside of the place they're applying to, which does absolutely tank your ratio. So let's look at what they have. What we're going to be looking for front-end dev is JavaScript, React, AngularJS, HTML, CSS, PHP, SQL, Scrum, Agile, RESTful APIs, SEO, WordPress, Git, Docker, Jira, Vue, Next, and a bonus will be extra language, cloud, UI, UX, SaaS, and not SaaS, I don't know how to pronounce that, but whatever, TypeScript, so it's SASS. All right, so I don't need a professional summary. This doesn't tell me anything. In fact, by people watching this, I think you can tell that literally every professional summary is basically the same. Skills sections, again, don't matter. I need to see them in the resume. Also, okay, the education could be at the bottom because it's not as impressive as a bachelor, so that's okay. So this can be deleted. This should be one line. I don't need all of this. And again, the formatting needs to look like this. This is peak formatting. I swear to you all, it gets people jobs. It looks boring, and that's the point. Recruiters want boring. Let us be boring. So, developed app components and screens with React Native. React is good. On iOS and Android. iOS and Android is good because even though I don't have those as a keyword, if you're doing a front-end dev for Android and iOS, it's going to be different keywords, which I realized they did not tell me. So, these are keywords for not iOS and Android. They may not be relevant specifically for iOS and Android, but TypeScript, okay, and React Native, again, good. Integrated React, again, a lot of React. It's good to have some React. And Git and Figma. Figma is not one of them, but where's the JavaScript? Where's the Angular? Where's the HTML? Where's the CSS? Where's the PHP? Where's the SQL? Unless this is specifically only for iOS and Android, in which case those may be different keywords. So, but again, this should also be in a bullet point, and I don't need you to tell me this. I need you to tell me this in here. So it would be developed an app for payment solutions screens using React on iOS and Android. Gaming area hub, again, this should not be bolded, and this should be one line. This needs to be wrapped into a bullet point if you use it. Implemented Next.js for server-side and client-side, routing to idle time by 30%. So many percentages. Design the application with mobile first approach using Tailwind CSS, good, which increases user engagement. I don't know if I care about user engagement. API is solid. CSS, HTML. So yeah, you need to sort of redo a little bit of this. Also, why is this... Okay, the order of this is weird. So, if anything for this, I would say you start this in December, I would say January 2023, and then you left it at the same time. So, I would actually lessen the amount of time you worked here so that it shows clearer and you can have this above up in here. But some of these are good. Like I see CSS, I see HTML, I wish I saw JavaScript, but I do see REST API. So you need to clean this up and you will probably get a much better ratio. The bullet points need to be slightly better. They're not bad. I don't want people to think this is the worst resume ever. It's not. It's solid. But the problem is the formatting, and most of the stuff I actually want is like all the way down here. And you're applying for like remote stuff, so that takes the right ratio. So you need to essentially combine some of these bullet points, have more keywords in those bullet points, and fix the timeline on here and fix the formatting. And once you do that, you should have more success, assuming you have the ability to work in the places you're applying to, because that is a huge requirement. But I'm not a lawyer and I don't know what you are, and I don't want to ask because that's not my business. So next, resume. This is a resume of a full-stack software engineer, kind of Java. They realized after submitted this, they need to put in essentially different keywords for this. So this might be broken down into multiple languages after this, and they are in chat, so I'm helping them after this resume. But right now, let's see what's happening. Essentially, I don't know their ratio. And they ask how much of a deal breaker is it to not put React because they don't have as much experience in it. And it's not great, but again, React is nice to have, but it's not the end all be all. So they also wanted to know if they should specify that they are a U.S. citizen, which, yeah, I say yes because you don't want somebody to be biased against you. Like if you click the wrong button in the ATS, or if you have somebody who is biased, then you want to put that you are a U.S. citizen in a certain area. So it should be U.S. citizen and then in Los Angeles, California. So I wish that wasn't the case. I wish that's not something you need to put, but it will help you out, unfortunately. So what we're looking for full stack is JavaScript, React, AngularJS, HTML, CSS, and PHP, SQL, Scrum, Agile, RESTful APIs. Nope. This is not full stack. That is my front end that I forgot to change. I'm gonna get the full stack up right now. Give me a second. So that is not full stack. This is full stack. There we go. So we're looking for TypeScript, Python, JavaScript, CSS, HTML. You could replace this with Java. Some jobs do want it. If you're replacing with Java, you also want, where is my Java keywords? There's two things that you do want specifically. Let me search for these, which is Spring and Spring Boot, and maybe Kubernetes and microservices. So add those if you're doing Java. instead of Python, but we still want the rest of this stuff. So TypeScript, JavaScript, CSS, HTML, Node, Angular, Next.js, SQL, React.js, API, REST. Again, you said you don't have React. That's okay. Cloud, hugely important. I really want to see cloud, agile, CI/CD, and cross-functionally. And then bonus points for architecture, external language, and Git. I'm still debating on whether or not cross-functionally is a bonus or not. It is in that in-between. So built a suite of online legal filing tools with TypeScript, Angular, TypeScript, RxJS, and Java, Spring Boot, Cloud, and Docker. Okay, so here's already kind of the problem. Not necessarily how you wrote it like this. I think that's fine, but these are neat. I don't know if I've ever seen RxJS in a job description. Java is great, but typically Docker is not what I'd be looking for. Typically Docker is more Python. So is that the case all the time? No, but it's the case most of the time. And then cloud is Spring Cloud. Okay. All right. So yeah, cloud is okay. But so this is kind of, there's a bunch like of extraneous stuff. Like what I would prefer you to say is built a suite of online tools using TypeScript, Angular, Java, Spring Boot, and HTML and CSS or something. And then the second one, I want something with cloud. I do need cloud. Contributed to the development of a popular legal filing tool with Java, Docker, Spring Boot, and Angular available in US state. I mean, that's okay, but you can kind of, these are sort of the same sentence, right? You kind of need to, like, I have no idea what that noise was. Whoa. You need to combine those two together because they're kind of the same. So develop the responsive adapted UI for new generation using Angular, TypeScript, and RGS. Again, you're only telling me Angular, TypeScript. There's more stuff here. I need something with cloud. I need something with SQL. I need agile. I need CI/CD. I need REST. I need APIs. I know you don't have React, but if you did have React, this is where you would put it. Implemented catching strategy and redundant API, good, but I need more introduced and configured I181 IL whatever techniques. Again, so here's kind of the problem is these are sort of the same sentence. Actually, these are all sort of the same sentence. This is okay, but it only has API. This I don't think I need. I can try and search to see if there's any keywords of I18N, but I don't really think I saw them. But led a team of 3 to develop various legal questionnaires in state. That's good. But what is the stack? So PDF, Java, again, what is SWT? What is iText? Wrote files. Yeah, this is basically written for a developer, but the person who's reading your resume may not be a developer. So you need to make sure your resume is written for the layman. Because, like, if we go down here, which can people even see? Sort of. So I see JavaScript. Where's the JavaScript? I don't see that anywhere here. TypeScript, Java, PHP, Python. Where's the SQL? Where's the HTML? You say it right here. I don't see it. Where's the React? I thought you said you didn't have React. I don't know, but you have React in the Laravel. So yeah, you have the stuff down here in the technical skills, but they don't count. Also, again, education should be up top, but considering you are a citizen, you should put U.S. citizen. That way it shows you've got where you got your education, and you can sort of head off that implicit bias that might be for some people. So that's all I can do for this resume. I will help you out more in chat. And if anybody else needs help, you can always come on my channel at twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST. And if you need your resume reviewed, submit it down below. It's free. Like, comment, and subscribe. Do all that good stuff. And I'm here to help you all get ahead of your job search. And I will see you in the next video.